Follow us to stay updated on debates, discussions, facts, and tips about health. Click on the subscribe button and the bell icon for latest updates.
Hello everyone, my name is Aditi Gangal and I'm from THIP Media. Today we will be discussing about how to read food labels correctly. In today's fast-paced world, people often opt for packaged foods that are readily available and convenient to consume. However, not all packaged foods are healthy or safe for consumption. In fact, some may contain ingredients that can cause allergies and other health problems. Therefore, today we have invited Ms. Chhavi Kohli to understand how to read food labels correctly and make informed choices about what we consume. Ms. Chhavi is a nutritionist and chief diabetes educator with Medanta Hospital and wishes to spread awareness about lifestyle modifications that can ensure a healthy life. We will ask Ms. Chhavi questions around the importance of reading food labels and how to read them correctly. So let's get going without further ado. Welcome, Ms. Chhavi, to THIP Media's show Health Files. My first question to you is, why do we need to pay attention to food labels at all?
So whenever, usually when we pick packaged or processed food, or if suppose we choose to pick up a healthy food item from the shelf of any market or any supermarket, then generally what we notice is what is written at the front of the packet. And we trust on the information which is written in the front of the packet with bold letters. But many a times the actual information or the actual ingredient profile of that food item is quite different, and so its effect on our health. So to make informed food choices, to pick up a better food option or ready to eat food item, it is very important to understand what's hidden inside that packet, or what is the actual content of the nutrients of that packaged food, and what are we perceiving, so that whatever we eat we can make informed food choices, or that will help us to compare two brands or two types of food items, and we can choose the better item for ourselves. So to make informed and better food choices for ourselves, it is important to read the information which is written on the nutrition labels and the ingredients, because they give us the right picture.
So, as you've explained why it is important to read food labels, my next question to you is how do food labels work in India?
See, food labels, the FSSAI, the Food Safety Standards Authority of India, they govern the rules and regulations which are followed for food labels. So if you will see from past many years, FSSAI is making an extreme good effort to make people aware about what they are picking. And they have changed many things in food labels when it comes to Indian packaging. Earlier, we never used to see so much of information on the packaged food, but now there are some mandatory things which they have to mention. And they, or FSSAI is also working on empowering people to make informed choices. So whatever rules and regulations we have for packaging, for printing the information, it is governed by FSSAI, and the rules every company has to follow. And now there are many changes which are also coming up. They are online. So we'll further see many changes on our packaged food labeling and the informations.
Yes, ma'am. Recently, I just got to know that the mark of non-veg food has been changed. Like from circle, it has become triangle, just for
Yes,
colorblind
and
people. Yeah.
yes, and secondly, they are also working on that key, the information which is written at the back of the packet is in minute letters. So they are also working on that key, which information to be shifted at the front of the packet. Like in many Western countries, they have already framed the rules for that. So in India also, these rules will come up soon. So there are quite many changes which we have seen in past few years, and we'll see further, because FSSAI is really working hard on that.
So, ma'am, just to give a perspective to our to consumers, like what are the what are some important components to look for when reading a food label?
See, whenever we talk about food labels, so what are food labels? Food labels give us the information about the ingredients which are present in that food product as well as the nutritional information. So there is a pattern in which the information is displayed on the packaged food. So they are written either in form of per serving or per 100 gram or per ml. So whenever we have to or a person choose to read the nutrition labels, so first of all, they have to focus on weight or net weight of the packet, what is the serving size of that packet, and the information which is listed on the nutrition label is in form of per serving or per 100 gram or per ml. So usually serving size is not defined by any person. It is defined by the company itself. And it is the portion which is related to the portion which is consumed for that particular food item. But a person can choose to have one serving or two serving of that particular food item. So why serving size is important? Because if we suppose have to calculate the amount of calories or amount of carbohydrate or proteins for that particular food item, then we need to know the serving size of the food item and how many serving so I want to eat or I'm planning to eat. That should be very clear. Accordingly, the nutrients can be calculated. Then the second thing which we should notice is the calories. So how many calories are present in one serving? And whatever amount of product a person is planning to consume, how much calories that product will give. Then the third important information is you should generally people look for the amount of sugar which is present in this. But rather than looking at the sugar, we should look at the total amount of carbohydrate because that total amount of carbohydrate includes the added sugar as well as the complex carbohydrate, the fiber, and the other simple sugars also. So everything which is listed in that terms is included in total carbohydrates. Then comes fat. For fat, we should not only look at the amount of fat, but we should also focus on the type of fat which is present. How much saturated and trans fat is present, or what is the proportion of monounsaturated or polyunsaturated or fatty acids. So that is why we get to know the basic information. And also don't miss the amount of sodium which is present in that food item. So these are the primary important things which anybody should look for, and these informations are listed on the nutrition labels. And beside the nutrition labels, you will always see a list of ingredients. So we should focus on what are the first 5 or 6 ingredients. So that gives us an understanding about what the product is claiming and what's present in the maximum quantity in that product.
That's quite informative. So, ma'am, you just explained that through food labels, we can understand, we can read whether the product has hidden fats or hidden sugars or not, right? So, like all types of fats or sugars are mentioned on the food label.
No, all types of fats and sugars are do mentioned on the food labels, but they might be present or they might be represented by different names.
Okay.
So that's why many a times we tell them we use the word hidden sugars or hidden forms of sodium or hidden fat, because there are multiple terms which are used for that, or there are multiple types of the same products or same items which are used. So till the time you are not aware about the names of those forms, so people think that it's not present, but it might be present but in a different form. So usually everything is listed, but we need to know the terms. And when we develop a habit of reading the ingredients, we get aware about the terms which are usually used to represent certain forms of sugars or certain forms of sodium or certain forms of fats which are present in the food item.
So, ma'am, as you said that like sodium, fat, and sugar, these are present with other names as well on the food labels. So, like, is there any source that you can recommend to the listeners, whether like they can go to that place and read more about this?
See, suppose if suppose they want to find out what are the hidden sugars which are present in the food item, they can look for certain terms. Like sugar is not only written in form of sugar. People are aware about sugar, glucose, honey, molasses, but sugars can also be represented by different terms. So generally, they are represented in form of sugar like cane sugar, or uh, they can be represented by the word which ends with O's, like glucose, sucrose, fructose, maltose, or they can be represented by the terms syrups, like high fructose corn syrups, rice syrups. So, or they can be represented in form of molasses or honey or glucose. So these are the basic terms which are used to represent sugar. When we talk about sodium, generally, there are different forms of sodium which are added in the packaged food. So sodium is not only written in form of salt, there are many sodium rich items which are added in form of like stabilizers, taste enhancers. They are all sodium related products which are used and which are supposed to be, which are necessary, they have to be used because they want to give this is important for the product, for the shelf life of the product. So that's how they can identify this, and all this information is also listed on FSSAI websites also. You can see that they have mentioned everything, whatever guidelines any company has to follow for labeling. So they have all the details of this information, as well as authentic sites if you visit. So you will get this kind of an information because these are standards which are used worldwide
Okay.
for packaging also, and in form of printing informations also.
Okay. So, ma'am, you've just explained that calories, fats, sugar, sodium are probably the red flags people should look for. So, are there any other red flags people can consider while reading food labels? Anything?
So as such, while reading food labels, they should try to match the information which is written at the front with what information they are getting at the back side of the packet. Suppose if the product says it is sugar free, then that means that the product should contain less than 0.5 grams of sugar per serving. So they should turn the packet around and see whether there is some added sugar or not. If suppose this product is sugar free, then whether it can, how much carbohydrate this product contains. Because what people perceive when they read sugar free is that it does not contain sugar at all. Apart from that, they perceive that it does not contain any calories and carbohydrate. So matching of those things. So every product will have some calories, some carbohydrates, some amount of fat. What are we perceiving by reading at the front of the packet, and does it correlates with what is mentioned at the back side of the packet? Or if the product says that it is rich in fiber, then you should read the first 6 ingredients. Does it contain anything which is rich in fiber? Or you should try to look for the amount of fiber which is written on the nutrition labels. Does this product contain 3 grams or more of fiber per serving? So that how this information relates with what is written at the back side of the packet. Or if the packet says, this product is baked, so you should always try to match, if it is baked, how much fat is present, how much calories this product is giving. Should this product is giving some amount of carbohydrate also apart from that, because when we read certain claims, we just stick to that, and people perceive something which is not actually present or in that product. So that's how the effect of the product varies when it comes to sugar levels or blood pressure. So try to match what's written at the front side of the packet with the information which is represented at the back side of the packet. So get the right crux of what you are grasping or what you are perceiving.
Okay, ma'am. So, as you just talked about blood pressure, I was thinking whether like reading food labels changes for people with food restrictions. So, how reading food labels work for people with dietary restrictions or people having some sort of allergies.
So many people are allergic to certain food items, and when we read food labels, then there is a section wherein these allergens are mentioned. So it is important to read that section also. So everything which is required is mostly mentioned on the packaged food. Thus, we need to read them clearly. So suppose if a person is allergic to lactose, then you need to see that some milk solids are present in that food item or not. If suppose someone has gluten allergy, then they can be watchful for the presence of gluten. Or if soya products, if a person is allergic to soya products, they can see whether some soya concentrate is added in that product or not. Or if someone is allergic to egg, they can look for that. Or the presence of tree nuts or shellfish in non-vegetarian food items or canned non-vegetarian food items. So all the allergens are mentioned on the packaged food item. So if a person is allergic to certain food item, they are always told to read the food labels properly and then purchase. Apart from reading the food labels for the allergens, they should also see the ingredients also, so that they can be doubly sure, okay, this item is not present in any form in this packaged or processed food. Apart from this, like people having diabetes or blood pressure, the main struggle with them is they have certain issues which are closely linked to certain kinds of items which are added in the processed or packaged food. They are generally present, but they also need alternatives for snacking. So they always search for some healthy options. So that search for healthy, or the quest of that search for a healthy food item, leads them to pick up products like, which have a lot of sugar free, or, which are diabetes friendly, or which are fat free. These claims many a times or generally attract these kind of people. So not reading food label means they just surrender to the claims which are mentioned at the front of the packet without getting a proper understanding. Like when very often when people visit us and we talk about the tea time snacks, then suddenly people say कि आजकल तो हम sugar free biscuits consume करते हैं, या फिर हम तो high fiber biscuits consume करते हैं. So they are trying to pick healthy options, so they are aware that they should ditch certain food items, but the only problem is they are not reading things at the right place, or they are not comparing them with their usual counterparts. So they perceive that this product is very healthy. Probably this product gives the similar calories and same carbohydrates. So the same impact they get in their sugar profile or blood pressure parameters. So that's why the market is also flooded with so-called healthy snack options. But we need to be watchful whether these snack options are actually healthy or they give us approximately the same proportion of nutrients as their regular counterparts, so that we can make informed food choices.
Okay. That's quite informative. So this has brought us to our last question. I would like to know, what are some misconceptions about food labels that consumers should be aware of?
So the misconceptions comes in the nutrition claims only. Like if your food label or the packet says it is sugar free, see how much like sugar free, as I said, means less than 0.5 grams of sugar per serving. So you should see how much sugar is present. You should always look for the hidden forms of sugar, whether sugar is not present in form of sucrose, but it is present in some other forms. You should always see the ingredients. Then you should always see the amount of total carbohydrate which is present in the packaged food, because sugar free does not mean carbohydrate free. Then the second confusion which generally people have is when they see no added sugar. This is a common thing which you will hear when it comes to juices. So no added sugar. So they don't understand what does it mean. No added sugar means, for them, they understand it terms of that it does not contain any sugar, so no carbohydrate. So no added sugar again does not mean that this product does not have carbohydrate. No added sugar means that sugar is not added while processing and packaging, so that product can be rich in carbohydrate. So that's why it is important to read the amount of carbohydrate. Then when it says sugar free, then you should read the type of sugar free. If suppose sugar alcohols are replaced or sugar alcohols are added instead of sugar, then you can see them represented by the terms of xylitol, mannitol, sorbitol. So these sugar alcohols are partially converted into carbohydrates. So it is also important to calculate them while, or count them while calculating the amount of carbohydrate. Then the other common thing, when people are looking for healthy food option, whether for weight loss or to pick up some healthy food item, they always search some fat-free food items. So for them, fat-free means it is purely healthy. It has no calories or very less calories and very less carbohydrate and very less fat. But fat-free products can have more amount of carbohydrate because there are two, three taste enhancers: fat, carbohydrate, salt. So if suppose fat is not present, then definitely product can contain more amount of carbohydrate, and that product can contain almost similar calories at their as their regular counterparts. So when you are seeing a fat-free label or baked food items, you should always compare them with their regular counterparts to understand how much calorie difference does it has, how much carbohydrate does that product contain. So always compare. And when we talk about fat, don't just look on the amount of fat. Always see the type of fat also. What type of fat is it present? Any product you choose should contain less saturated fat, minimal or no trans fat. So that's why it is important to learn to read labels. So that might not come at the first time when you will read the label, but continuously when we keep on develop a habit of reading the list of ingredients, develop the habit of reading the table which is mentioned. So many a times we learn to compare, we automatically start understanding what is mentioned, in what sequence generally they mention things. So that plays a vital role in developing our understanding. And that is a very good habit because in that ways, when people read at the back side of the packet, they definitely they consume, they compare. So like so many a times we compare the prices of the product. So we should also compare the ingredients. We should also compare the calories and carbohydrate, these kind of things. So that help us make a better choice for ourselves.